Hi, welcome to another training on how unreasonable obsession is the only way you can win as a founder. The reason why your revenue is flatlining is because you're treating your startup like an hobby instead of giving it the full attention that it requires. The only difference between $1 billion startup and you shutting down is because they gave it an unreasonable amount of obsession. And that is the only way to win at this current era that we're in, the AI era. And I'll be sharing how and the reasons why you need to be obsessed with your startup. And I'll be reading from my tab here on the things that I've actually written down and to help you understand why you need to be obsessed with your startup. The first reason I wrote down here, before I even go down into the first one, let me break down some things I actually wrote down here. We are standing on the edge of AI. The AI landscape has shifted beneath our feet so violently in the last 12 months that the maps we use in 2025 are already useless. The barrier to entry for building software has dropped to zero. The technical moat is dead. The idea moat is dead. Anyone can build what you're building. Anyone can copy your interface. Anyone can undercut your price. So what is left? What is the one variable that cannot be copied? What is the one thing you must inject into your veins if you want to survive the slaughter that is coming from mediocre startups? It is not strategy. It is not acts. It is not networking actually. It is unreasonable obsession. I'm writing this because I'm tired of seeing brilliant founders fail because they were interested in their startup. Interested is fertile. Interested is an hobby. A hobby. Interest is what you do on weekends. So win in 2026, you must be hungry. You must be starving. You must be obsessed to the point of madness. I'm not talking about hustle culture or performing work for Instagram. I'm talking about quiet, terrifying internal hunger that refuses to let you sleep until the problem is solved. I'm talking about the kind of obsession that looks at a balanced life and laughs because it knows that balance is for the people who work for the winners. If you want a quantum leap this year, if you want to go from 20K to actually $15 million to $1 billion valuation company, you have to stop acting like a CEO and start acting like a fanatic. One founder that actually knows that has unreasonable obsessions and they win, let me just give an example, is Zach Progoff. This guy is a definition of obsession. When I mean obsession, you're obsessed with the little details, with design, with bringing out something that has never been built in the whole world. You're showing up daily, you're not giving up, you're focused on just making that one product better. We've seen the likes of Mark Zuckerberg when he slept on the floor. We've seen Elon Musk. We can name different founders that actually won because they were more obsessed than the next person. They took more risks. They were fanatics. They were not just thinking about this as an hobby. They were just interested to the point of exhaustion. So, here is why you must be obsessed to actually win, and here is how. The first is the 4-dead reality for founders. Paul Graham famously said that startups are default dead. This has never been more true than right now. The universe wants your company to die. Entropy is pulling your team apart. The market is indifferent to your existence. Only obsession generates the escape velocity required to overcome gravity. Look at Jensen Huang of Nvidia. For 30 years, he didn't just run a cheap company. He lived in a state of constant paranoid obsession about the future of computing. When asked recently about his success, he didn't talk about brilliance. He talked about pain and suffering and waking up in cold sweat, terrified that they were going to lose everything. That fear paralyzed him and it sharpened him. Most founders in 2025, probably the previous years, they got comfortable. They raised a little money, got a nice office, and started playing apps. They lost the hunger. In this year, the default state will catch them. If you aren't obsessively checking the pulse of your business every single hour, you wake up to a corpse. The second one, the death of the good enough product. In the era of AI generated code, good software is commodity. You can prompt a working MVP into existence today. This means the market is flooded with good enough. To win, you must be obsessed with the sublime. Think of Steve Jobs, not the myth, but the reality. The man who was obsessed over the colors of the walls in the factory. The man who cared about the look of the circuit board inside the Macintosh. The parts nobody would ever see. Why? Because obsession signals care, and care is the only thing humans value than AI, and AI cannot replicate that. If you're not losing sleep over the copy on your landing page, the friction in your onboarding, or the speed of your database queries, you have already lost to the founder who is. Your hunger for perfection is the only marketing that matters. The third one, talent only follows fanatics. You want to hire A players, you want 10x engineers. They do not work for balanced bosses. They do not work for managers. They work for believers. A players are mercenaries of impact. They want to be part of a crusade. They can smell lifestyle founders from a mile away, and they avoid them with the plague. When Elon Musk slept on the floor of the Tesla factory, he wasn't doing it to save money on the hotel. He was broadcasting a signal to his engineers. He said, "It means I am more obsessed than you. I care more than you. I am bleeding for this." That signal creates a magnetic field. It attracts the crazy ones. If you want to build a $15 billion company, you cannot do it alone. You need an army. And an army needs a general who is the first one on the battlefield and the last one to leave. The fourth one, speed is the only defense. In 2026, speed is not a metric, it is a survival trait. The linear founder thinks in quarters, the quantum founder thinks in hours. Obsession compresses time. When you are obsessed, you don't wait for the meeting next Tuesday to make a decision. You make the decision now. You don't wait 2 weeks to ship the feature, you ship it tonight. I remember the story of, I think Alex Omozi was sharing that he had a new head of probably marketing, and then he was on a call with that person, and then he told that person that, oh, we need to do this and do that and do this, and then the person said, oh, we can jump on a call tomorrow, and Alex said, why not right now? And the person said, oh, all right, let's jump on the call right now. And then he said, okay, pull up a document, and they stayed on that call for probably hours. And then that person, I'm sure the head of marketing, that will be the only onboarding that he actually needs from Alex. Because, you see, this founder is not actually joking. This person requires me to put in the effort, to put in the work, because he's actually putting the work himself. Let's go. Obsession compresses time. I've said this. Travis Kalanick, I don't know if I pronounced that name well. For all his faults, he understood this at Uber. He coined the term jam-packed for his house, where early employees worked 18 hours a day, fueled by pizza and pure aggression. They weren't just working hard, they were obsessed with conquering cities before the regulators could wake up. If you're not hungry for speed, if you're comfortable with slow growth, you are a roadkill. The hungry competitor will actually eat you up. The fifth one, the deep will break the tourist. I call tourists those they dabble from one startup idea to another. Probably they build this for 1 month, 2 months, they jump to another idea, They don't actually know what they're building. They don't even stay with one idea till it wins. Seth Godin talks about the deep, that long dark valley between starting and succeeding where everything goes wrong. In 2026, the deep is going to get deeper. The easy money is gone. The easy growth acts are patched. You will face a moment this year where the data says quit, your bank account says quit, and your family says quit. A rational person quits, a sane person quits, only the obsessed continues. Think about Berenchesky and the Airbnb founders. They were selling cereal boxes and just to keep the light on. They were maximizing credit cards. They were gluing write-ons onto boxes by hand. That is not rational behavior. That is hunger. They were starving literally and metaphorically. If they had been merely interested in travel, Airbnb would not exist. You must be obsessed with your vision that reality has to bend to accommodate you. Six, investors buy the mania. If you plan to raise capital, or even if you just want customers to buy into your roadmap, you need to understand what people actually buy. Investors don't buy spreadsheets, they buy the jockey. They are looking for the look. It's a specific look in the eye of a founder that says, I will make this work or I will die trying. And that is what I saw in the eyes of Zach Kroger while he's building Share Aura. SoftBank Masayoshi Son invested in Jack Ma not because Alibaba had a great business plan. He didn't. But because Jack Ma had a hunger in his eye that terrified and captivated him. You can read about it. If you walk into a pitch meeting in 2026 with a take it or leave it attitude, you will leave with nothing. You need to walk in with the energy of a force of nature. You need to show them that your obsession is an asset of class, of its own. Seventh, customer connection requires empathy, and empathy is exhausting. To build a customer-funded growth engine, you cannot treat customers as raw in CSV file. You have to feel their pain viscerally. You have to be obsessed with your problems. When a customer churns, it should physically hurt you. When a user can't find a button, it should ruin your afternoon. This level of empathy is exhausting. It drains you. Most founders put up walls to protect themselves. They hire support staff to shield them from the complaints. The obsessed founders tears down the wall. They answer support tickets at 2 a.m. They get on planes to apologize in person. They obsessed over the experience of customers because they know that in a crowded market, being understood is the ultimate luxury. Eight, hunger beats resources. I know what it means to build with constraint. In the West, founders often complain about runway and burn rate. They solve problem by throwing money at them. Here and in the minds of the true great, we solve problem with hunger. When you're starving, you become resourceful. You don't hire a sales agency. You send 50 or 500 DMs yourself. You don't buy expensive software. You add together a solution with code and duct tape. Obsession is a multiplier for resources. A hungry team of 3 with zero budget will destroy a well-funded team of 30 who are just doing their jobs. That's why I love, what's his name? Naval. He was sharing in his podcast that in his team they don't even use Slack. That's a story for another day. In 2026, stop waiting for funding. Funding follows the hunger. Use your lack of resources as a forcing function for creativity. Nine, the reality of distortion field. The world is made up of rules. You can't do that. That's not how the industry works. That's impossible. The obsessed founder does not hear these rules. They operate in reality distortion field. They believe with delusional confidence that they can change the laws of physics. And because they believe it so strongly, they convince others to believe it too. If you're realistic in 2026, you'll get realistic results. Realistic result is less than 20k a year. If you want the 15 billion result, you need to be unrealistic. You need to look at goal that seems impossible and obsess over it until it becomes inevitable. 10. The fear of regrets. Finally, the most human reason of all, we're dying. Every second ticks. By on this New Year's Eve is a second you will never get back. The potential inside you is decaying or growing. What is the cost of not being obsessed? The cost is sitting back in a rocking chair in 40 years, wondering what if. What if I had actually gone all in? What if I had actually stopped caring about being cool or balanced or just let the fire consume me? What if I had given everything? The pain of discipline is ounces, the pain of regret is tons. In this year, your obsession is your insurance policy against regret. So, here is a challenge for you. While the world celebrates the passing of time, I want you to make a blood pact with yourself. Stop apologizing for ambition. Stop lowering your voice when you talk about your goals. Stop looking for the easy route. Embrace the hunger. Let it sharpen you. Let it wake you up at 4 a.m. Let it make you difficult to be around. Let it burn away the parts of you that are soft, weak, and comfortable. What you need right now is absolute obsession. And you need to make a pact with yourself that you're going to be obsessed, you're going to focus on what you're building, and you're going to give it absolute everything and make it successful. If you want to actually grow your startup and you are that obsessed founder and you want to work together to actually scale the revenue of your startup, then you should watch the training in the description, and you can also send me a DM so we can talk. Thank you for watching. Subscribe, follow, and share this video with someone. Talk soon.